We've got NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles and staff writer at The Atlantic and the author of Thank You for Your Servitude, Mark Leibovich. Ryan, what we just heard from Congressman Doggett, does that reflect what you're also hearing from Democrats on the Hill post-debate? Because for me, and we had this conversation earlier, there's a lot of private hemming and hawing, but no one's really signing their name on the dotted line like he did.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that is based in a lot of what Congressman Doggett explained to you, that there is a concern that if too many Democrats come out too quickly, that might force Joe Biden into a corner that he feels that he needs to fight out of, as opposed to coming to this decision on their own. And what you see Democrats kind of doing behind the scenes is putting this private pressure on the White House, putting this private pressure on the Biden family, putting that private pressure on the president himself to come to this decision on his own. And if they get the sense that he's not willing to take that step, then they're going to have to take a step back and rally behind him, which is essentially what Congressman Doggett said he is willing to do. Yeah. So it's a family conversation that I keep hearing that word over and over again. We're having a family conversation here. Yeah. How long they can have that family conversation for, though, is an open question right now. And it does feel as though time is running out.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be at Democratic Thanksgiving. Mark, I wonder if you think that the Biden campaign should be taking comments like Congressman Doggett more seriously, or if, as we heard from Karine Jean-Pierre, he gave them a heads up that this was coming, and they didn't really seem to do much to stop it.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing they can really do to stop it. I mean, I think they are privately, I mean, they're taking stock of all of this. I think Congressman Doggett was, obviously he's a tip of an iceberg that has not broken or melted, whatever the right metaphor is there. I think, though, that there's a combination of stuff. I think some of these new polls are pretty rough for Biden. There are probably a lot of conversations going on privately that we're not privy to that are putting some pressure on him. But, I mean, in the last couple of days, the people I've talked to seem to have increasing hostility to the notion of a status quo, circling the wagons, everyone calm down approach, which has basically been what Team Biden has been doing for the last 2 years. I mean, I don't think that's working, and I think it's absolutely, it's just meant for him misguided, especially after last Thursday. So, yeah, interesting times, but I think that look, they've already kind of dawdled away a bunch of days, so something should happen quickly.
Ryan, I think when we're talking about the pace of this, what's kind of been shocking to me is how slow the outreach was. I mean, it's almost been a week. He talked to Hakeem Jeffries last night, as you reported. Of course, he's talked to more Hill leaders today. Do we know anything about those conversations other than that they happened?
No, not really. But what we do know is how remarkable this turnabout has been for the Biden White House and the campaign. You know, we were talking to Democratic members over the last 48 hours that were like, we're not hearing anything. We have no idea what is going on. Now you see one by one the White House ticking this off. They've talked to Chuck Schumer, they've talked to Jim Clyburn, they've talked to Chris Coons, they've talked to Hakeem Jeffries, who you pointed out. What we're not getting, though, is a sense of what those conversations are like. Are they trying to tell these Democratic leaders, stick by us, give us an opportunity to see this through? Are they saying we're trying to come up with a plan for the next stage? All of those things seem to be an open question. The one thing I would say, Ali, is the sense that I've gotten from the people that I've talked to is that they are willing to give the president through the weekend. They want to see how he performs in this interview with ABC on Friday. They want to see how he is out on the campaign trail. He's going to do some Independence Day events and things along those lines. And if he gets through that, that may buy him some time. But it's going to be a lot more difficult for all these Democratic lawmakers who are telling this concern they have behind the scenes. When they get back up here and you and I are chasing them in the halls, when they get back here on Monday and Tuesday, it's going to be a much different conversation then. So the president's got to do a lot to build that trust back up with these members if the things aren't going to change big next week.
I know. I'm bringing my running shoes for Monday because when they come back, that's going to be the key question. I think the other question we have, Mark, is what's happening in the New York Times right now. This report claiming Biden is weighing whether or not he should stay in this race. Once again, I want to point out NBC News hasn't confirmed this reporting. But, Mark, that's substantial if it's true.
Yeah, and I have no doubt that it's true. And Katie Rogers, who wrote the story, is my former colleague, and she's rock solid. It certainly rings true to everyone I've been talking to, and I suspect Ryan and others have been talking to. I would say this. I mean, yes, the White House seems to be focusing a lot on kind of ticking off the bingo cards about, the president spoke to this leader and that leader and this congressperson and that, senator and so forth. Who he hasn't really spoken to for nearly a week now is the American people. I mean, it is, yes, there have been a few set piece events. There was that rally. There was that, that speech the other night. But, I mean, he has been basically invisible. It has not been, he's been cloistered as he had been before, and it definitely perpetuates the notion that, okay, well, will he perform on Friday? I mean, I think that the idea that people are waiting for little proof of making up their minds is being lost by the day, and obviously the spiral started last Thursday.
All amazing points from Ryan Nobles and Mark Leibovich, who will continue tracking this with the same doggedness that we've been tracking it for the last week. Thanks for your time.
Hey there, MSNBC fans. I'm Luke Russert, and be sure to join me, Rachel Maddow, Jen Psaki, Lawrence O'Donnell, Steve Kornacki, Joy Reid, and many more September 7th in Brooklyn, MSNBC Live Democracy 2024. Click on the link for ticket information. We will see you there.